All right, we're back. Fourth edition. Look, I just dominate all your time. I just say, hey, let's do another one. You're like, what else do I give away for free? No,
I got more. I got more.
I know. That's the best thing. Everyone's been like, dude, this guy is insane. Like, he knows so much stuff. I'm like, yeah, that's what happens when you do something for like 10, 15 years. You start to get really good at it.
Yeah.
No, it's been fantastic. I've learned a lot of stuff. I know a bunch of I saw some of our students like Corey and JR and Greg. These guys are on the top level of income in the group. And every one of those guys, they hit me up. And they're like, dude, this is insane. Like, I'm going to jump in. I know they jumped into your kind of trainings and stuff like that. But it's just such good knowledge. I think everyone could feel it and see it. But so today, what we're going to do, first of all, there's been quite a number of new students joining JK in the last little bit. So if you're brand new, my suggestion would be maybe skip over this live stream, bookmark it. I'm going to have a page of all 4 of the live streams for you to go refer back to, but maybe jump back into the training today. Keep moving with your baseline, your foundational information. This is more advanced stuff, but you're going to have access to it, so you don't have to watch this live. If you want to watch it live, hey, no problem. I just don't want you to get confused if you're kind of just getting your feet wet, because that can't happen, because we got people in here that have been around for 4 years learning this stuff. So that's my little disclaimer before we get started on the 4th edition today. Let's see here. One other thing too, I bumped the clock back to about midnight. For those of you guys that have been kind of peeking around with, Chad's got kind of a premium GMB course at easylocalcash.com. That's going to have a slight price increase. It's been open for like the last week. And so there's going to be a slight price increase. We'll talk about that at the end, but I just want you guys to know that I bumped the clock back because it was going to end right at the time of this call, and we were going to be live together. So I want people to have that last little few hours of making that decision. Okay. So Chad, I'm giving you the host section so you can take over the screen, and you're going to teach us, I think we have 4 things to cover today. What are they?
So we're going to talk about Google questions and answers. And this was actually just came out today, some news that I wanted to share with you guys and make sure you're aware of it. I want to talk more about proximity and the ranking algorithm and just some great opportunities there. Again, this is also an article that just came out, some news just came out about proximity that I thought was really interesting. We're also going to talk about Bing listings.
Okay.
I don't know how much you guys talk about Bing,
but back
but
to the day, and then they made it became a little bit more, or maybe that was Yahoo. We talked a little bit about it, not a ton.
Yeah, Bing and Yahoo have like flip-flopped and traded data and all that. But right now, Bing and Yelp added together, you can get more market share if you just get Bing and Yelp and start to dial those in. So we're going to talk about that. And then a couple other things like Express Update and the local search ecosystem. Do you guys talk about that at all? The ecosystem, like how different data providers feed other ones?
No.
But there's some opportunities there too that I want to talk to you guys about. So
all good stuff. If I don't know about it, hey, then I that means I haven't taught anyone about it. So this is good stuff.
Good. Well, let me share my screen so I can show you this article. This just came out, I think today actually. Joy Hawkins actually she wrote it. She's an awesome person to follow. She really knows her stuff. Again, she would not approve of everything that probably I do. She's kind of she's sort of more of a white hat kind of crusader, like trying to kill like spam, even small time. So, you don't want to let her know what you're doing, but Joy really, really knows what she's talking about. And I wanted to talk about this just because if you've got this doesn't have to be that long, but just really quick, if you've got GMB listings out there, Google questions and answers, you need to start watching it. And the reason why, not so much because you'll get good traffic and stuff off of it, although it can bump you up temporarily. Like when you answer a question, you get a temporary bump. So it's not like a long-term bump, but you get a temporary ranking bump because Google likes to keep fresh stuff up on top. So that is a short-term ranking advantage. The other thing, though, that's important about it is, you might not know this, let me show you this in this article, is that, actually, let me really quick say what this is. So when you're in a listing, and can you guys still see my screen?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You see right here where it says know this place, question mark, answer quick questions.
Yep.
And then you click on it. These are questions that either Google has in an automated way popped these questions into the listing, or they're actually questions that other people have asked about this listing. So it's kind of a social feature, which can be cool, but it can also be dangerous because you have strangers answering questions about your GMB, and you might even have people that don't like your business answering questions about your GMB. So like, let's for instance say someone who's mad at La Barca restaurant clicks on this and says, it reads it, is this a good place for groups? It's like, oh man, one time, I went there with 3 of my friends. We were a group and they, the beer was flat and the tacos were horrible, blah, blah, blah. So you want to, you can actually flag those things in your Google GMB dashboard to be removed if they're like, if they're against Google's terms of service, or if they're like defamatory or something like that towards you. But if you can answer the questions first, then you don't have to worry about a stranger coming in there and posting incorrect information, or just somebody who's mad at you. And Joy actually posts some examples that are really, I don't know if you can read these, but like this lady asks, do they do elderly nursing home cases? And the person down here says, they are no good. Be careful of them. And then down here, yikes, do not hire these assholes. They work for the people you're suing, not for you. I mean, that's like the last thing you want to be posted in your thing. You might even have someone say, hey, this is a fake listing, or somebody like that might like post in there. So you want to be sure that you're in there on top of these questions and answers. And it's really simple. I mean, it's nothing complicated. You just log into your dashboard, just answer any questions that have popped up and make sure those are all answered so that you don't have to worry about a stranger doing it. So that's just a quick tip, but it did come out today, and you want to be proactive and not wait for a problem to pop up. Just because you were letting it slide.
On your dashboard, when people post stuff, it goes into your dashboard.
Yeah, I can't show it because I actually don't have. I'd have to since you guys know I do all this profile stuff, I'd have to log into a profile and stuff. So, but it's right. It's underneath where you can deal with the reviews and where you can post photos. It's there's all those things down from top to bottom. It's just another section.
Okay.
So it's really easy to find. All right, but this is what I wanted to talk about. That's really going to help you folks with your rankings and stuff like that. So I wanted to talk more about proximity, and I've talked about this quite a bit in the last few webinars that we did. Proximity means how close your listing is to the searcher. And just real quick, let me just explain before I show you the article. So Google, and I don't know how much you guys talk about this, but Google uses a lot of different things to identify your location. So obviously, if you're on a phone, it's simple for Google. They just identify you with your GPS. If you're on a desktop, you might not know this, but they also identify your location according to a lot of things, and some things actually which are illegal. You might not know this, but the Street View car used to drive down the street and collect everyone's Wi-Fi data. This was a big news thing. So they had this data. Google had this database of everyone's Wi-Fi hotspots and the name. So say the name of your hotspot is your daughter's name or something like that. So they have you got your daughter's name. That's the name of the Wi-Fi router, the IP address of it. Even so if you think about it, they can even measure how strong the signal is. So when they're when the Street View car is 500 feet from your house, it might be 1 bar. And then they can actually record once they're right next to your house. Now they got 4 bars, and they can record all that data. So now so then it came out in the news, and of course Google said, okay, we'll stop, you caught us. But they were just literally collecting this stuff on people.
They like their data, don't they?
Yeah, they're data freaks, man. So then So that's how they can identify where you are, partly is by the name of your SSID, information about your router and your Wi-Fi signal, so they can actually tell where you are just sitting with your computer. And there's other ways too. They can tell, there's ways that your phone interacts with your tablet, which is also logged into Google, and your desktop computer is also logged into Google. So they try to triangulate all that data and figure out where you're sitting on a desktop computer as well. So you guys might not have known that, but that's an important thing to know for this article that I'm going to share. So now this article was an experiment that these guys did, which again, this just came out a few days ago, and I thought it was really interesting. So what they did was they took a law firm, a law keyword phrase, and I don't know if you can read it, but it says right here, car accident lawyers. So they're searching for the phrase car accident lawyers from 138 different zip codes, all in Houston. And the way they did it is the Bright Local search tool. Do you guys talk about that tool at all?
We have it a while back. It hasn't been
okay.
It's a good tool.
Yeah, this is an awesome tool. So I'll take a side then, just talk about this really quick. So my free software that we talk a lot about, it's in the resource page. You can put in GPS coordinates and get a list of maps listings ranking for that specific GPS point. This doesn't do GPS, so it's not as cool in that way. But what is cool about it is you can tell, like, if there is a local pack for your terms. So let's say you want to see, like, is there a local pack for Valparaiso, Indiana? And then you click search results, and it brings up, these are the 4 pages in Google that are the results pages. And when you click on it, it brings up, this would be what someone sees sitting in Valparaiso, Indiana, searching for just the word dentist, not adding any keyword phrase to it or anything like that. And so it can help you, because some of your niches might have local packs in some cities, and in other cities they might not. We've run into that a lot. We have niches where, like, there are some cities there's no map for some reason. And so we put that one on our second tier, because that one we have to try to reach those people through regular SEO, because we can't get to them through the map, right, at least on desktop. So that's one thing that's really cool about the tool that you can use it for. And you can use, let me go back here. You can put in a zip code too, like this, and it'll search according to that zip code. So it's not as narrow as a GPS point. Like here in Chicago, in one zip code, we have thousands of businesses. So it's not as useful in a really dense populated area. Right. But in a smaller town, it can be really useful to look at that local pack. And you can also, if you check this box here and then you click search results, it'll give you the rankings in actually just Google Maps, not in the Google organic search. So it's a pretty interesting tool, and we use it a ton, because if you don't want to, like, fire up the software and find out what's my GPS again, I forgot what my GPS points were and all that, you can just go quick to this tool, which the URL is right here, Bright Local. Even if you just do a Google search for Bright Local search results checker, it'll pop right up in the first slot. So, okay, so that's kind of a side note. That's how they did this test. And what they found was really interesting. So if you look at this crazy pie chart, these are all the personal injury lawyers in Houston that are showing up in their searches that they did. And you can see there's, like, I don't know how many there are here. There's like a ton showing up. Depending on the zip code, the search result was completely different.
Interesting.
Yeah, and if I encourage you guys to go to the article. It's because then you'll be able to actually see the percentages, but you can see it's like one of them showed up 1% of the time, another one 2%, another 5%, but all of them are between like 1% and 4%. And so here's the thing that really caught my eye down here. They say here, the most dominant firms have only achieved 14% of the total local search visibility in Houston for this keyword. So that means the most powerful GMBs in Houston for that personal injury lawyer search are only getting 14% market share.
Yep.
And here's why this is such a great opportunity. That means if you have a GMB, and I know a ton of people watching this have a GMB and you're making good money off it, you get awesome calls off it, that means you've got 85% more you could get out of that city. Because if you're making $1,000 or even $500, that $500 is only 14% of what you could be grabbing in that city.
Yep.
And so this is a huge opportunity for GMB, and it really shows how and that's why I talk so much about spreading out your listings and getting more. If you've got a winner, get more and spread them out all over the city, because man, you could turn $500 a month into, $5,000 a month or $10,000 a month just by getting more listings in that same city. You guys, I think you guys might not know what you have here in JK, but it's an awesome training. So many success stories. And if you've got a success story, don't just stop with let's say you've decided I've got $500 a month out of Atlanta. Let me move to the next city. That's okay to move to the next city, but I want you to just realize from this statistic, you probably have a good 85% more you could squeeze out of just that one city by getting more listings. And that's why we talk so much in our training about that, in the paid training about ways to do it. And we've talked about that in the other webinars. But not just that, is even just repeating the JK process. I mean, you could repeat the JK process 10 times, get another virtual address, get another postcard, all in the same city, and just spread them out on the map as best you can, and grab up that there's much more you could get. It used to be that if you were showing up on the top for Plumber Houston, you're pretty much you're showing up everywhere for anyone anywhere in Houston. But like we said earlier, Google's getting very good at pinpointing people's location and showing them a very specific search result that is all surrounding their specific GPS point.
Right. And so the other thing to kind of speak on, because I know the question will go up, is people are going to say, well, do I use my same site? Do I use my same business name that I came up with? So what would you speak to on those two questions as people are probably asking right now?
Yeah, I would say vary the names and vary the sites. I mean, this is kind of a philosophy question, but I like to play it as safe as possible. I know some guys, I was even reading one of Corey's comments. I know Corey's got these massive sites where he's just ranking everywhere just from one site.
Yeah.
And so you can totally go that direction. But if you're trying to really blow up GMBs all in the same city, especially in a service area type business, you want to try to stay under the radar as much as possible, is my personal philosophy. I mean, you can do both, but it puts you a little more at risk of it showing up and being visible. Wow, this is all the same guy. Look at this guy. Oh my God. And these are all virtual addresses, before you know, it's your whole business model is kind of laid bare to whoever's analyzing it. So if you vary the business names, put up a new website, and and just repeat the process. I think that's a good way to go, because it's a lot safer and you're more likely to have those things last. But yeah, the money's definitely there, especially if you've got one winner. I want to emphasize, I know I've said it a lot, but if you've got one winner, there's a lot more money there in that local area than you're grabbing up.
Listen, one of the things, I mean, I get this question all the time when I'm on calls or there's new clients, people are always so worried about this whole saturation thing. It's going to saturate. I'm it's never going to saturate. And here's why.
No.
Here's why I can tell you this without a shadow of a doubt. Is because if you look at that personal injury as an example, in one city, there's 100 personal injury attorneys.
Totally.
Think about it from their point of view, because they're all making bank, by the way.
Yep.
One of those guys.
Every one of them. Yep.
There's 100 of them, right? That means there's 100 personal injury attorneys. That means there's enough customers to make sure every one of those can have an office, can have lots of money coming in. So I think sometimes we are very narrow-minded because It's just a lot of times it's upbringing or who you surround yourself with. But the
Yeah.
bottom line is, guys, whether it's a limo business or a personal injury attorney or a pest control, there's always so much room in these markets for multiple competitors in these markets. So when you come along, or 2 or 3 people come along and they also jump in the market, you're just splitting the market share up by more people is all that's happening. It's not that it's going to saturate out and it's just going to run out of customers. That's never going to happen. These businesses have been around from the beginning of time, right? There's always been an attorney. There's always been a limo service. There's always been a pest control. The buying cycles of humans will never change.
Yep.
They're always going to be there. And so if you 3 or 4 new businesses start up, it just splits the amount by a few more people, but not saturation.
Yep. And I think the sad fact is a lot of people aren't going to take action. So just by taking action, you're going to be above everyone else, because a lot of people are just like, oh, interesting.
Yeah.
And then don't do anything about it.
Oh.
And so by being an action taker, you're already just, head and shoulders above everybody else, on that list.
I make so many mistakes to this day on just getting up sites and getting up GMB listings. I probably skip steps I should have, and I get sloppy.
Yeah.
We all do, right? But I'd rather have a sloppy site that's up in place today than not have any site up altogether, because I at least got a fighter's chance. Because I'm in the game now, right?
Yep.
I can hit a home run. I can hit a base hit. Okay, you don't ever get put into the game. You don't put yourself into the game and get a site or a GMB and get your stuff up. Guys, you can't freaking score if you ain't in the game, right?
Yep.
So imperfect action is such in any business. It's like it's probably 99% of it. The rest is the other 1% is like having the skills and the expertise, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
Yep. Just take action. Don't be afraid. You got so many more tools here than most people have.
Oh,
and you saw, there were a lot of guys on that personal injury list that were on the 0.1%, 0.01%, and you're like, you're not even a personal injury lawyer, and you can be making money off of their market. So
yep.
Yeah, it's there's a lot out there. That when I saw that statistic of the 15% or 18 or whatever it was, I was like, wow, that is huge opportunity.
Huge.
And that was that was a eye opener for me too.
So
all right,
it also kind of goes to the while you're moving to the next idea. It also goes to the idea of like, when you're even placing in your city isn't enough now. Like just picking your city, because what if you're in a not the best neighborhood, or you're in not the, I don't know, whatever. Maybe the zip code is a much smaller zip code, so there's not as many humans in that zip code, right? We got to even past the population of a city, and we got to start even looking down into zip codes and the socioeconomics and things like that. You could always, again, overthinking things probably, but still, it's not a bad way to think when you're looking at a marketplace. Like, what would be the ideal zip code for this type of product service business,
Totally. And that gets into some of the like commercial corridors and stuff like that too, is where you want to look for where the businesses are and go for those areas. Yeah.
Look, if you're doing a custom pool building site, right, or something like that, do I want to be in a zip code that's heavily populated by apartment complexes in places that will never buy, or do I want to be as close to the zip code with the $1 million homes or the more expensive homes that are going to be buying a custom built pool, right, and spending this money? So it's like those types of just thought process.
Totally.
Have it at least go through your brain when you're positioning yourself. So.
Yeah, and you can actually go on Wikipedia and find out the average income of people from that town. And it's like here in Chicago, it's town by town. So you got these suburbs. From one suburb to the next, you might have average income $150,000, and then the next suburb is average income $40,000. And I want my GMB to be in the 100, at least to start. I want to be in the 100,000 income one.
Absolutely.
So good. Well, while we're talking about market share, I want to talk about another market share concept. And this is another statistic. Again, this article came out, I believe, last year. But I wanted to draw your attention to another opportunity that a lot of people don't think of. And this is like total search market share. And obviously Google's on top. If you look at percentage of total, you can see here we've got, this is kind of projected. What they project is that 2018, Google had 80% search market share, 2018 and 2019. But what people don't pay attention to is right here, we've got Microsoft or Bing, which is Bing, 7.2%, 6.6%, and Yelp, 5%, 5.8%.
Wow.
And so I just wanted to make sure that, I know you guys talk about Bing and Yelp in the JK training, but make sure you're also getting your listings on Bing and Yelp, at least those two, for the citation benefit, but also just for the traffic benefit.
Sure.
Because right here you've got 7% plus 5%. Just by getting those two, you've got a significant percent. It's not 50, it's not 80, it's not 90, but it is a significant percent. If you're looking, again, we're talking about spreading out your influence with what you've already got. And these you don't even have to set up a new lead gen site. You don't have to get a new phone number. You can use the same one. You're already getting the citation benefit. And so then you can work on ranking these. And actually, here, let me show you another statistic here. You can see actually over time too, the blue line is Google. Obviously, they're massive. The black line is Bing. And so you can see they are on a steady upward slope of market share. Right. And I literally never go on Bing, But I'll tell you what, my retired father-in-law sure does. It's built into his browser, and he has money to spend. He doesn't even know he's on Bing. He's like, I searched the internet, and there are people doing that Bing is like a search engine, like built into their computer, and they're searching like they don't even know what they're searching. So there are people on there with money to spend. And actually, it's a funny story. I'm in this one niche with a partner, and I didn't want to deal with Bing really. I was kind of like, I just don't want to Google. Look at this blue line of Google. It's like massive up here. I don't even want to deal with Bing. Well, he's like pounding away at Bing listings. And man, now after all this time, he's getting like between $400 and $800 a day just off of those Bing listings.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And so you think about and so he just went crazy with it and built a ton of them. And he's in that niche. I think he's literally like the only guy ranking, because it's like nobody's really focusing on Bing. So there are phone calls there is traffic there that you can get. And obviously this is for if you've already done the basics. So don't everybody go out and be like, man, forget my GMB. I'm just going to register on Bing. This is for like after you've done the basics, you followed the process, you followed the JK process, and you're in now. Expand it out to Bing and Yelp. And it's actually fairly easy on Bing. It's fairly easy to rank. On Yelp, it's a little harder because it depends more on reviews. So what we've done is, now I never recommend doing fake reviews, but you can on like some of these forums, like on Black Hat World, you can actually buy reviews, but with people that have like aged Yelp accounts. So for a Yelp review to stick, it has to be like an old account. It has to be an active account. There's all these different things for Yelp to even allow the review to stick.
Right.
But there's guys on there like on blackhatworld.com that know how to do this. They sell reviews. And what I'll do is I'll just tell them, here's a review to post. Don't make up your own. And I'll give them one that I have already. Because that way I don't want to mess. I mean, it's actually illegal to post fake reviews. So I'm kind of trying to stay away from doing anything illegal, but I do have reviews, even if it's a word of mouth review that I got, or a phone message, or an email that never got posted publicly. I'll try to utilize all the reviews that I have, and then hire a guy like that who knows how to get it to be live. So with Yelp, if you want to rank high on Yelp itself, you need to make sure you've got decent number of reviews.
That's good to know if you have an SEO client and you're doing just straight SEO.
Yeah, totally.
Take over. Remember, like, you show them this graph, and when you're trying to prove value, it is saying, hey, look, I got you on Google, but I'm also going to help you rank number one on Yelp. This is a really good tip of how you can help take some of their customer reviews and redirect them.
Yep.
And help them get ranking on Yelp, and then over on Bing, things like that. So it's like, take it for however you want to use it, but the knowledge is what you need to be listening to here.
Yeah, and even like I'll take anything I got. I mean, written on a napkin, anything I've got that's a review, and try to get that. Well, I'll be like, what do you have? Like, ask the client, what do you have? What if people told you?
Right.
If it's a real review, I would get it out there and get someone to post it for you.
Right.
And on Yelp, that's especially important for the ranking factor. But yeah, don't ignore Bing and don't ignore Yelp. They are smaller compared to this giant of Google. But if you're trying to spread your influence out and get more and more market share in a city, in a niche, then definitely don't leave those two behind. I mean, you can end up with, 10, 12% more calls just by making sure that you're doing Bing and doing Yelp.
I was on the phone today with a gentleman who just joined, and I was telling him about the thought process behind having and owning multiple pieces of digital real estate. And I was like, look, it's no different than 7-Eleven or Starbucks. If Starbucks puts a Starbucks on Main Street, in your town, okay, they're going to collect the traffic that's driving down Main Street, right? So that's just like what we're doing with a search here. If it's dentist, you pick up the people that are driving down that dentist street. But they might go down to 3rd and Main or whatever, 3rd Street, which is now, we'll call that Yelp. So you might as well have them rank in there too, because you're going to pick up a totally different flow of traffic that might do their search. Like your father-in-law uses built-in search. He doesn't even understand, but he's still got money to spend. And so if you look at the internet and online business, much like a street, and just like how roads are and how the same company is positioning themselves all over your town, they just understand traffic and different flows of traffic. And yes, 3rd Street might not get as much traffic as Main Street, but it doesn't mean you don't want to be on 3rd Street, right?
Yep, exactly.
The internet,
Yep. You might not build your first thing on 3rd Street, but as you're expanding your empire, make sure you don't ignore 3rd Street.
Exactly.
There's money there.
Money to spend.
Yep. And it's not that hard. I mean, Yelp, I think, only requires a phone verification.
Right.
So it's not that hard to do. Bing actually requires, I believe they require a postcard. So it's a little harder, but if you've already got a virtual address, you had to deal with the Google postcard already, go ahead and send the Bing one. And Bing's also not going to be so strict. So you might be able to actually get Bing listings up where Google would never allow it. So you could go for like all the PO boxes and all the obvious ones that maybe you're trying to stay away from for Google. You could just set up a Bing listing there under a different business name and grab up some extra phone calls. Cool. And in some of these markets, I mean, one sale could be worth $300-400. I mean, it's worth it. I'll take an extra $300 a week, just for putting up a Bing listing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, another thing while we're talking about market share is, let me share my screen again, I want to show you this graphic that I really want you, I'm not sure when I'll be on a live stream with you guys again, so I want to make sure you have this in your tool belt. If you do a search for local search ecosystem, this is a graphic that Whitespark puts out every year. And don't get overwhelmed. I know it looks super high tech, but basically what this graphic is it shows which local search directories feed other ones data. And so you can end up, if you're looking for ways to expand your influence, this is a great way to do it, because does that make sense what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. I totally.
And it's cool. They've got it so it's dynamic. So you can actually say, oh, let me see if I get an info group, which is Express Update USA. I'll show you that in a second. Look at how many places info group feeds their data to, including Google. Now, a dotted line means that Google hasn't actually said explicitly, yes, we take data from info group, but it's likely that is a relationship from their research. But you can see, so this is another way to expand your reach, is just to make sure, especially you're in these ones, Factual feeds a ton, Infogroup, Axiom, and Neustar. Neustar is actually the GP, like what's in those old school GPSs, not the one in the phones, but like a GPS unit that people still have. Even if you're in your car, a lot of times Neustar will feed those GPSs, and they also feed all these other local directories. So it's a way you can get even more reach. Now, again, we're talking about percentages. So we're talking about don't ignore Google, go through the process, but you're like, hey, I've got a winner now. How much more real estate can I grab up for the least effort? And Info Group is so easy. I mean, I always encourage people to do Info Group. It's a phone verification, so they don't require any kind of postcard or anything. And I'll show you it. Usually go to expressupdate.com, and you can add your business. This is where you start in by entering your business phone number. So I'm just going to enter in a fake phone number, and don't see your business, add it now. And then you click and you add it, and that's it. It's simple. So just add, it's free. They phone verify it. And then over time, they're going to feed their data out to, because they're one of the primary data providers for a lot of places. They're going to feed that data out to a lot of other local directories. And so this is, again, something to not ignore. You know, Factual is another one to do. It's like, you can see it in the ecosystem here. It's free. I think it takes 6 to 8 weeks for them to start feeding their data out. No reason not to do it, really. Factual, I believe they don't do any kind of a postcard verification either. And so this is a great way to get additional reach. Now, we haven't submitted to Neustar. I think Localese might cost. I think Axiom is free too. But you can see how many places Axiom feeds too. I mean, they're huge.
Wow.
And so the one thing to watch out for Info Group is they don't, so even if you have legitimate clients like brick and mortar businesses, a lot of local consultants run into this problem with Info Group where if you try to submit too many businesses from the same IP address, they'll say something like this IP address has reached maximum submissions or something. They're trying to keep people from automating it.
Yep.
So, but we'll use like a anything like a HMA, like a
proxy.
Any kind of proxy or anything just to revolve IP addresses through. They don't have to be even safe IP addresses. Info Group just needs to see like a variety of IP addresses submitting to their system.
You're doing a bunch.
Yeah, but they're not even like they're not even that strict on it. Like it doesn't even have to be like a super clean IP address or anything. They just want to see variety. But yeah, no reason not to do it. Seriously, guys. Especially if I especially encourage Info Group because they feed a lot of the different providers their data, and some of these little ones down here at the bottom that you might not have time to go and submit to, you can get to them by submitting them to Info Group.
Perfect.
So yeah, but I also want to say stay on top of this document. So this is actually the one from 2017. So it's likely sometime in the next few months they're going to update it. But just stay on top of it because, like, especially when it first comes out, you're going to see opportunities there that you never saw before because you're going to see, oh, wow, who's this provider? This guy all of a sudden has relationships with, all these big name local directories. And just by submitting to one guy, you can get all over the place. Now, in my paid training, we actually have even more like this because it's kind of hard to figure out which ones require. Some of them require postcards. Some of them require only phone. And we've gone through, combed through all this that you see and even more and pull out just the ones that are either require no verification at all or phone call only. So in the paid course, you can get that and you can really expand your reach. But just some ones to start with are just like Info Group, Factual, and Axiom are just the big names, the primary data aggregators there.
Nice.
Yep. So that's what I got for today. I know, Dan, I know you got an appointment and I actually have one too in about 10 minutes. So
no, sure. This is it was all money stuff.
Yep.
And guys, just so you know, we're going to have every one of the last 4 segments that we've done together. We have the actual video. This video, we rip it, we upload it to our Vimeo, and then we're putting all the resources like things like this underneath the videos. So if you didn't take great notes, you're just sitting back, or maybe you're watching this somewhere you couldn't do it. I'll give you guys all a link that you guys can go to, and you can just rewatch the video or all these different things. We'll have little notes for you guys, and we're putting those all up so you guys can refer back.
And if you have any questions about what I'm talking about, you can post them in the messages below this video, and I can answer those. Just make sure to tag me or something. If you post like all throughout the JK group, I might miss it, but I'm kind of paying attention to the comments under this video, so I can make sure to answer anything where maybe I wasn't clear or whatever. So go ahead and shoot them off to me there.
Okay, perfect. And then just like a final kind of like, I know you got to run, I got to run as well. Just kind of like a last kind of reminder. I bumped the time till I think midnight tonight, Pacific Standard Time, where you can still get access to Chad's kind of premium training on all this stuff. He goes in depth, as you guys have seen. You go to easylocalcash.com. We'll put a link in the description here as well. You get still, I think right about 70 people have grabbed it. So there's another 30 spots left for all three of the bonuses. The bonuses, as we've kind of walked you guys through, are pretty invaluable. Actually, pretty valuable. Invaluable is not a word, is it?
I think it is. I think they're both
perfect. Oh, well, great. I'm an English major over here. So there's some pretty incredible things in that, just the bonus section, but just the training alone is like, for those of you guys that want to go really deep dives into the GMB stuff, obviously Chad has thousands of these listings up, and it's a lot of knowledge in this space that you guys have seen over the last few sessions we've done together. Everyone that I'm seeing that has joined up is super pumped. You will be part of like a little private Facebook group of just those folks. I think you're doing some weekly webinars and Q&A stuff in that group specific to just those paid members as well. I know you did one today.
Yep.
So kind of your last chance before there's an incremental price increase is to get in at the lowest rate possible. If you want to kind of work underneath Chad's toolage on this high-level GMB premium training, go ahead over to easylocalcash.com and snag that. There's some cool payment options too if you need to break it up over a few months. And it's really underpriced. Like I said, we're going to end up taking over the phone sales for Chad and his product. And it's going to, this entire product that you're getting offered in the JK group because of our relationship, you're getting it about 66% off. It's going to sell over the phone for about $3,000. So that's nice that you guys are going to get kind of a little hookup, and also those bonuses won't be offered to the general public either. So kind of a last time. Yeah.
I was going to say, especially the local guides. I have a local guides video that's like how we use GPS and mobile tech and stuff like that to really scale mobile guides, which is actually something, this isn't just a gimmick. I really like debated whether or not to even make that video because it's so fresh stuff that we're really just doing right now. And we spent hundreds of hours figuring out the system and how it worked. So that's something I really don't want to leave in there for too long.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely once we go to selling this hardcore on the phones, I'm not going to, because I actually have competitors that'll probably buy my course just to watch that video and figure out what I'm doing and then, take over my stuff. So there's a limit on that too, as far as how long we'll leave that video in there. So if you did buy, if you're watching this, make sure to go over to the local guide section and watch the video on the mobile. It's actually labeled as a bonus video, so make sure you watch that as well while we got it up there.
Sweet, guys. So you guys got till about midnight. If you want to take advantage of that stuff, there'll be an incremental price increase. You still can buy it at a later date. It just costs a couple extra bucks. We want to kind of put a fuse on things so it's not just running out for the rest of time, and incrementally move it to the price point that it deserves, which is, I think it's right around a $3,000, if not more, product. So that's that. Thanks again for doing this fourth session. You really helped me out with content over here. Like, I kind of relax for like the last 4 times. Otherwise, I'm always like, dude, what am I going to talk about? I've been 4 years. Like, what am I going to say? So, big help for me. So
awesome, man. I really appreciate you having me on. And this is an awesome group. It's been great to be like just in with you guys, and just there's such a good vibe in the group and so much support. And you guys really have an awesome thing here. So I appreciate the opportunity.
Cool, man. Well, you get to your appointment, I'll get to mine, and we'll see you later on.
All right, we'll talk to you later.
All right, see ya.